Hey guys, back again. This is my third technology lesson. So this time we're talking about Quizlet. This is a really popular one in my school. It's really gotten its way around. It's an excellent study tool for kids because, you know, the old school flashcards are still a really good way to memorize and go over things for tests. So I use it and help kids use it as a flashcard. It's a study application. It's really easy and it's simple, and you can search through. A kid can make a Quizlet and share it with the whole class, the whole school, the whole world. You can search Quizlets that are already made. So for example, let's go over here and let's search for the Cold War, for example. Let's see what we got to study about the Cold War. So all these are Quizlets that other people have already made with questions about the Cold War. So let's click on one of them and see what's in there. So it'll show you have all these different things that you can do. There's flashcards, the biggest function. You can write on them, you can have it said out loud, and you can spell the answers. You can actually take a test. There's two games you can play to help you learn the material. I'm going to click on the flashcard icon, and you see that, you know, there's a description, and then there is some information, right? So this one is all about just different types of information. Let's go do a different one. So we'll back out of this, and then let's go to this one on communism. So I'll click on flashcards again. So here's an example of this one. Click it, right? Click it, and it gives you the answer. So that's the flashcard functionality. It'll read it to you.
Communist dictator of Cuba who came into power in 1959.
If you'd like to have that function, it'll read it to you. I really like that, and I think it's really good for the kids. I also like the match game a lot. So what it does is it brings in all the information that is on your Quizlet, and you have to match them to make them disappear. So you have to this is good for the kids because they get to just drag things around until they actually match one, and then it disappears, and they get a time over here and kind of beat their time. But at the same time, they're learning the material and they're memorizing it, so that's a positive thing. The gravity game is the same. The answers start falling from the sky, and you have to type them in order for them to go away. So you would type in what the Warsaw Pact is. So there's different ways to study with this. The ITSE standards for this would be F6B and D5A. I would say that this goes across a bunch of different intent audience. Students need it to create them to be able to study. It's good for teachers to know that it exists to help them study. I know teachers that have used this. You have to pay for the teacher version, but I know teachers that have done that and created their own Quizlets for students to use to study specifically for questions for their tests. And the students can access that with a code when they log on. They can do it right on their phone, which is really handy. So they have the flashcards, and they just swipe the screen or tap the screen, and they can continue to learn the information. And all my kids are doing this at my school, where they're just Quizleting and using their phones to go through the Quizlet flashcards. Parents, it's good for parents to know this exists. If you want to help your kids study for the test, you could create a Quizlet. I've done that for one of my kids. I created a Quizlet to help them study for a big test. Then I could ask them questions and have them, go through it with me. So it is a neat program. It does a lot of stuff. It's a lot of different functionality. You can set up an entire class and just do Quizlet specifically for that class. You can make it where they're only accessible for certain people, or whether the whole world could see it. They have an easy help center, and to create a Quizlet, you just click on it. You got to name it something. So, let's name it types of computers. Okay, we're going to go down here, and our first thing is going to be Apple, and the definition would be type of computer that has an Apple logo. Okay, and then you have to choose your language for it, which is English. All right. then you can come down and you can say, IBM, and that would be type of computer that doesn't work with an iPad. Okay, so created a couple of them. Then you could go to create. You can share this with other people so they can find your Quizlet inside the program. You can share it on Google Classroom or on Remind. You can add it to your class if you've created one. So let's look at the flashcards we made here. So type of computer has an Apple logo. Flip it. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, I can have it read it to me.
Type of computer that doesn't work with an iPad.
It's funny that words it can't say, it spells. So I find that humorous. So it's a really great program for high school kids, probably middle school kids as well. I'm not so sure about elementary because it's a little labor intensive to begin with to create the Quizlet. I know some of my students will each take half of the information, for example, in buddy team, and one of them will create a Quizlet on the first half and one will create a Quizlet on the second half, and then that way they can share each other's Quizlets with each other and practice and go through how to study for things. So this is Quizlet. It's a good program. I think you guys should share it with others.